Hey, so we finally back, and today we will talk about the personal knowledge graphs. So I have a lot of talks about the personal knowledge graphs, and it's a quite wide topic. But I really believe that the personal knowledge graph is quite valuable uh, asset for the users, especially as a form of the sovereign data, because the personal knowledge graphs, they are the core of semantic memory for the AI powered applications, and you could hear a lot about the graph driven RAGs and all those things. So the graphs together with the vector searches, they are quite often the core of the memory for any kind of AI pipelines. So everybody should have one. And at 2012, actually, it was the paper that changed actually the view of this community from Google that explain why the knowledge graphs are important, and it's make the revolution in the industry. And practically every enterprise nowadays, they have the big enterprise driven knowledge graphs that everywhere. They used to empower search and make the personalization of the search decisions in Google. They used in LinkedIn for sure to analyze the social connections, skills, and all those things. Your medical insurance properly use the personal knowledge graphs about you, your diseases, and all of those things. So they are everywhere. Why they everywhere? It's clear that the graphs are really good of compressing and connecting the facts together and all of the things, and it's deserve completely separate video. I don't want to focus on this, but what we're trying to do in making we're trying to take this super powerful enterprise tool like knowledge graphs and democratize them and bring them to your device. And it's emerging field that may be not so huge as the enterprise knowledge graphs. It's a space of the personal knowledge graphs, and they quite differ. And how they differ, it's a separate video that I have in my channel, so you could find this article. But if you keep in short, in an enterprise knowledge graph, you have the huge amount of data, heterogeneous data sources that you scan, and you have the strict ontologies that's built on top of a huge amount of data, and they are full and they are complex and so on. And if you will talk about the ontology, it's yet another graph, but it's more the set of constraints that say how the data should look like, what kind of properties every entity should have, how this entity connect together in a graph, what kind of subgraphs it could exist in a graph, and all those things. So ontology, it's more the blueprints that help you to build your personal knowledge graph or knowledge graph. And the personal knowledge graphs, they are much smaller. It's usually small or medium-sized data set, and it's the data set that fit more to the small and soft data space for the user. You could take a look my presentation about the small and soft data, but if we keep in short, it's data that you really care, and it's more the data about your emotions, ideas, values, and all those things. So it's something that really matters to you and something that you deeply connect, and that's the core of the personal knowledge graph, that every entity in a knowledge graph somehow connected to yourself. And it's a center of this graph. It's just a node that called me, self, I, or whatever. And yeah, and how we could accelerate and get the best from the personal knowledge graphs. Actually, that the paper say that strings and things, so the things not strings, and it's mean that we start from simple labeled graphs that just have the label for the some idea or a person or whatever, but we want to accelerate, we want to go further, and we want to have a meaning of the real object behind the string. And the next step for us is just to add the category to the string. Like if we have Volodya, then Volody is definitely the person. Or if you have a Lilia, Lilia is definitely the person. But then you maybe already could do a lot with this. But the problem is that, it's not enough, because every person maybe have some properties that matter, like the name, the date of birth for sure. And if Lydia is my wife, then probably I want to know her favorite flavors or something like that. Or if Alex is my coworker, then probably I want to know something different information that have the meaning in this context. So then you see that we have already complex objects that have some properties, the different roles, and it's a good thing for ontology, that ontology could define that the different persons with the different roles have the different properties that we really care about, and it's really build complex relations and the knowledge base. The next step in our journey from the strings to objects, actually, it's the slot filling, because when you have the complex object that have the complex properties, it's mean that we could not fulfill its straight away from our conversation with the artificial intelligence or any other things, and maybe it could be extremely complex and require some process. So it means that our ontology, it's a bit broken to the two pieces: the minimal ontology that define that this object is valid for this particular properties, and full ontology that mean that this object have the bigger value with all these attributes and so on. So we slowly fill in the missing information about the objects around us during our conversation with the artificial intelligence. And it's a lot of papers about the slot filling of the complex objects in a personal knowledge graph. The next step, then, we have the way of collecting the data that give us the superpower. But now we want to maybe do another quite important graph algorithm on top of our personal knowledge graph. It's link prediction, that we could see the objects that may be related with each other, but we don't have this link in a graph. And our artificial intelligence algorithm could create these links proactively for us and give us the new insights and new benefit. So it's really cool. And so we have the slot filling that populated the objects. We have a link prediction that connect these objects with each other. And another quite important thing in ontology is that they usually define the subgraphs or some rules that if you have a person, this person probably have a connection with some location and all of these things. So it creates some subgraphs that have a meaning in your domain, and that they could proactively predict some missed objects in your graph. So it's not just a link prediction, but I would say something like the subgraph predictions. And these three tools, the slot filling, link prediction, and the prediction of the complex relations, really could blow up the way how personal knowledge management systems could evolve, and could give you the powerful algorithm and tools that right now are available only for the big tech like Google, Facebook, and LinkedIn, but you could do your own. And we actually trying to make this happen too. So follow us in our journal, follow my channel, read my Medium articles that usually add some context to my videos. I was keen to share this with you, and see you next time.